recover, and Bill O'Brien gets his first win over his former head coach, Bill Belichick. Patriots drop to the 2 seed with the loss. Here's Tom Brady after the game.
We're battling. We're trying as hard as we can, and hopefully we can make enough plays and be the best we could be. It doesn't. All remains to be seen. So, you can make a bunch of predictions and so forth, but that's not what it's about. It's about going out there and doing it. And a lot of guys made some plays tonight, and try to build on it and see if we can do better next week.
All right, Nick, after what you saw last night, how much are you doubting the Patriots' Super Bowl chances?
Well, who are they going to beat in the playoffs? Who are they going to have to go through? They're going to have to go through Buffalo, who's take the Patriots out of it, one of the other 4 best teams or one of the other 5 best teams in the conference. So they played Buffalo once. They needed a blocked field goal or blocked punt for a touchdown to beat them. They're going to beat Houston, who that final score is misleading. Yeah. Houston's up 3 scores throughout. They're up 28-9 in the 4th quarter of that football game before the Patriots added some garbage time scores. You're going to beat Baltimore, a team that just beat you badly. You're going to beat Kansas City, a team that you're playing in a week that is going to put it on you from the offensive side of the ball. I don't know who you're going to beat. And listen, I understand Tom Brady because he is the greatest quarterback ever, and arguably, Jerry Rice, Jim Brown, Lawrence Taylor might have something to say about it, but arguably the single greatest football player ever, if such a distinction exists, has earned an enormous amount of latitude and special dispensation. But Tom Brady's the only quarterback in football that through 3 quarters could have had that game with that sideline outburst, with that on-field body language, and we're still after the game being like, man, poor Tom Brady. Man, this poor guy, what do you want from him? I mean, what do you expect him to do? Well, he's got a 1st-round pick at running back. He's got a 1st-round pick at wide receiver. They traded a 2nd-round pick for Mohamed Sanu. He's got the greatest coach ever. They're playing the 31st-ranked 3rd down defense, 32nd-ranked red zone defense. What do you want the old man to do? Play better is what you would want him to do. But you can't blame him for playing the way he's playing, not because of the talent around him. It's because of his age. Yesterday was the most productive game a 42-year-old quarterback has ever had. Because there ain't any list of 42-year-old quarterback good games, because you're not supposed to be good in this league anymore. Right. So the most concerning part to me, if I were a Patriot fan, which, believe it or not, I'm not, but if I were, the most concerning part to me about last night's game, Bart, was not the offense, because that is what we should expect from the offense. The most concerning part to me was that the defense, which through 2 months was invulnerable, is leaky all of a sudden. You played some better quarterbacks, and all of a sudden the defense is very good, but not historically great. And with an offense like this, the 2015 Broncos won the Super Bowl. Yep. With an offense like this, they had a historically great defense led by a historically great player in Von Miller, 2 great corners in Talib and Chris Harris.
Yeah. And Roby.
And Roby, who's now in the Texans. This Patriots defense has to be at that level if they're going to go on a playoff run, because the offense is not getting better.
And listen, sometimes victory is a great deodorant, right? It masks the stink of how bad this Patriots offense has been. And Tom Brady hasn't been playing well all year, and he's alluded to this throughout the season. We got to play better. We have to play better. But this defense was setting them up on short fields because they were turning the ball over at the beginning of the season at a historical pace. Yep. They had scored 2 touchdowns, and then also they blocked 3 kicks. So whenever you block a kick, score touchdowns on special teams, all that gets categorized out into the offensive rankings. So I think sometimes the numbers do lie, and Tom Brady's going to have to figure out how he can find or trust another receiver not named Julian Edelman, because we saw yesterday teams are starting to say, we're going to bracket Edelman, and we're going to make sure we put our best pass defense
pass corner.
Yeah, our corner, safety, our best guy on White, and force you to find the 3rd guy. It's been the Patriots for years that always made you fight left-handed, right? They always take away your strength. Now finally somebody's taking away their strength, and they're struggling with it, and the defense struggles against team speed. Not just one player that's fast, but team with position players that have multiple, positions that have team speed. Baltimore did a little differently because they had team speed, but it was through the run game. We saw yesterday they tried to take Fuller and Stills away, but then DeAndre Hopkins ate, right? We saw that the Ravens were able to expose those linebackers through their tight ends and getting them matched up because they have 3 tight ends on the field all the time. Yesterday we saw Duke Johnson get loose against Van Noy, and it wasn't even close. The fact was that instead of keeping their guys in when they did the zero blitz, they free-released their running backs and exposed those linebackers. Hightower on one play, Van Noy on the other one for the touchdown to Duke Johnson. And they have a problem because they have to identify how they're going to play. They try to switch it up and go more zone, but then they just, without a natural pass rusher out there, you look at Houston, they just set in the zones.
Yep.
They go cover zero. They just ran over routes because nobody in the middle of the field. The team speed, they couldn't keep up. They are in trouble against 3 teams, and they got to hope that somebody else like the Texans or Buffalo beat a team that they can't beat.
And the problem with having one unit that's so dominant is that you don't have the luxury of not playing superb. If this defense is going to carry a subpar Patriots offense and a subpar Tom Brady, they don't have the luxury of just having an okay game.
Yeah, they don't have Tucker anymore. They don't have Ford. They have Forbath and Nick Folk.
On top of that, they don't have anyone to kick the ball. There's no guarantee that you're going to get those 3 points when you need it.
Well, the lack of a kicking game is an enormous part of this, because if you're going to try to win games like this, you must have a reliable field goal kicker. Yesterday, Forbath misses an extra point, which, by the way, very odd coaching mistake by the Patriots in that spot. They score a touchdown to cut it to 21-9. They're thinking about going for 2, which would have been fine. I get it. Instead, they just take a delay a game like you do when you're going to punt the ball. And now all of a sudden, instead of a 33-yard extra point, it's a 38-yard extra point. You got Forbath in there, and he misses it. And now instead of being down 11, which is a touchdown, 2-point conversion and field goal, you're down 2 touchdowns, down 12 points. And we've got to, though, acknowledge the Brady element of this. Brady, his numbers at the end of the game look fine. But by the time it's 28-9 and the game is over in the fourth quarter, he had a 60 passer rating, 190 yards passing, and 5.6 yards per attempt, right? 44% completions. Even when you add in the garbage time, it's another game with a sub-100 passer rating. That means it's 7 weeks in a row where Tom Brady has not had a passer rating of 100 or higher. That is the longest streak of his entire career, aside from 8 weeks his rookie season. After his rookie season, he hadn't gone more than 5 games in a row of consecutive sub-100 passer ratings. And again, the Texans defense, especially post-J.J. Watt, is not a good one.
Right.
Getting Bradley Roby back was important for them.
And Hargrove.
But they also got lucky. And people can say, well, the interception, Nikhil didn't run his route sharp enough. Fine. What about the interception that got taken away because of I think it was probably a good call, but the defensive holding? Like, the Patriots offense is not going to get better, and they have to beat a team that they are going to, the type of team they are going to have to play in the postseason, and that's Kansas City's the last one left. They played Buffalo and they beat them to their credit, but it's really Houston, Baltimore, Kansas City, and New England are the cream of the crop in the AFC. They're 0 for 2. Those other 3 teams have all played each other. They've beaten and lost to each other. The Patriots, you mentioned them going out and getting AB. Peter King mentioned it this morning that he thinks the coach and the quarterback will try to commission Robert Kraft to do it. I know, Jenna, you think Kraft will never go for it.
Or at least Des Bryant, they can't lie to themselves, right? They're seeing exactly what we're saying, that we don't have enough.
And they were so desperate, they traded a second-round pick for Mohamed Sanu. What did he do yesterday?
Drop a pivotal 4th down catch.
All right, let's finish up this morning talking Browns and Steelers in a rematch. That ugly meeting 2 weeks ago. Cleveland jumped out to a 10-0 lead, then sputtered. Baker Mayfield struggled again. He went 18 of 32 for 196 yards. He had a touchdown, but he had 2 turnovers. Steelers won the game 20-13. Cleveland now 5-7 with playoff hopes all but gone. But the story of the game turned to something that happened off the field. Friday night, head coach Freddie K decided to wear a T-shirt that said Pittsburgh started it in reference to their brawl. I'm glad he doesn't want any distractions, and then made sure that jacket was open when someone asked to take a picture. He was asked about the shirt after the loss.
I mean, listen, the T-shirt didn't have anything to do with us at the -1 moving out. I wore a T-shirt. I wore a jacket with it. My daughters wanted me to wear the shirt, and I'd wear it again. I'd put a jacket on. I covered it up. I took a picture with a fan. That was as simple as that, you know. T-shirt. I mean, T-shirt didn't cause us to give up 40-yard passes, and we were ready to play. That's the only thing people need to be concerned about.
You know, it did. Play calling, coaching, penalties, lack of third down success, all of those things. But the T-shirt didn't help, right, Bart? I mean, it couldn't have helped because it was a distraction.
He doesn't get it. You are the CEO of a Fortune 500 company. You can't be walking around with shirts that say that, especially when your guy was the guy that was in the wrong. It shows a lack of accountability, and it shows a lack of awareness of what you represent, who you represent, and how you're supposed to carry yourself. I don't care if your daughter gave it to you or not. It's certain things that my daughter may give me that she don't understand isn't appropriate. And it's up to you as the parent to say, you know what, it's not appropriate. How I knew that you knew it wasn't appropriate? You had said you had the jacket zipped up, and you tried to be cute and zip it down to take one with a fan, not knowing the times that we live in. We're in a society where everything you do goes viral.
And he knows that.
Right, and he thought he was being cute and, you know, feeling good about themselves because they won 3 in a row. They're reading the press clipping saying, hey, they got the easiest schedule going, thinking that he can right the ship. Really, what he just did was put the last nail in his coffin that he couldn't come back because he needed to go to the playoffs and maybe even upset a team in the playoffs in the wild card division to try and keep his job. And now what you see is no lack of accountability. He doesn't hold his players accountable. Baker says, oh, I've done worse. Of course, Baker, you got tackled by the popos, and you've done a lot of different things that we know that you have done. That doesn't make it right.
But Baker's a kid. I understand he's not a kid, but in this relationship, he's the kid.
Yeah.
And you can't expect, just like with actual children, if kids are bad behaved, that's not on the kid. That's on the parent. And now Baker's a grown man. His behavior is his own responsibility. But he's a kid in terms of knowing how to be an NFL player, a face of a team. And he's learning from a guy who has no idea what he's doing. And so, no, the T-shirt had nothing to do with the Browns losing. The Browns lost because they're front runners that aren't out in front enough to front run. They were up 10-0 in this game. The moment Duck Hodges punched back, the Browns folded. Like, that has been the story of their season. The 3 most disappointing teams in football: Dallas, Cleveland, Philly. Dallas up 7-0. They get punched back by Buffalo. They fold. Philly up 10-0 and then 28-14. They get punched back by Fitzmagic and they fold. Cleveland gets punched back by the Duck and they fold. So, like, that's the story of their season. The story for Baker is he's the 33rd rated passer in football, 33rd in completion percentage in football, and while Freddie Kitchens might be the worst thing to happen to him as far as his effectiveness, he's kind of the best thing because